Aliens realized only afterwards that humans are the original ancient species. Captain Ethan Brooks watched the starfield drift across the main window like slow snow. The ship was small compared to the Council cruisers, but it was steady and quiet, built for long-range work. Its name did not matter today. What mattered was the empty region ahead, a cold pocket of space where old records said a dead civilization once burned bright and then vanished. Most beings in the galaxy agreed on one thing: humans were newcomers. That idea sat in every lecture hall on every council world. It was in the archives, in the timeline charts, in the jokes told by board officers who had never met a human in person. Humans were fast learners, yes. Stubborn, yes. Sometimes reckless, but young. A species that had only recently stepped out of its cradle. Ethan had heard it many times. He did not argue anymore. Arguing never changed a belief that felt comfortable to others. He leaned forward in his chair and looked at the scan results floating above the console. The target system was marked with an old council catalog code, a place surveyed long ago and rarely visited since. The records called it a Vireland ruin system, named after an extinct species that once left stone rings and broken cities across several worlds. Most explorers came here hoping to salvage artifacts. Most left disappointed, finding only dust and cracked metal. Ethan's ship was not here for treasure. It was here for mapping and verification. The Council wanted updated scans for trade routes and safety charts. Ethan did not mind. Quiet work suited him. No speeches, no politics, no posturing. Across the room, Dr. Lily Morgan sat with her legs tucked under her chair, eyes moving quickly over lines of data. She was a xenolinguist, but she treated numbers like a second language. Her hair was tied back in a simple knot, and she had the focused look of someone who could forget meals when a puzzle appeared. At the engineering station, Ava Mitchell ran system checks with calm hands. She was younger than Ethan, but her mind moved like a well-tuned machine. She did not waste words. She did not panic. She simply solved problems one at a time. Near the navigation console, Noah Bennett adjusted the ship's course with light taps. He hummed softly, not a song, just a sound that kept his nerves settled. Beside him, Daniel Carter reviewed the long-range sensor feed, his brow tight. Daniel was the one who spoke first. "Captain," he said, keeping his voice low, "I'm seeing something that does not fit." Ethan turned. "What kind of something?" Daniel pointed at the sensor overlay. "There's a repeating pulse in the background. It looks like a signal, but not like the usual ruin echoes. It has structure." Ava looked up. "Could be leftover beacon tech, old council tags." Daniel shook his head. "The pattern is too clean, too intentional." Lily slid her chair closer, eyes narrowing. "Show me." Daniel expanded the signal feed. A thin line danced on the screen, rising and falling in a steady rhythm. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was almost shy, like a whisper from deep water. Lily stared for a long moment. Then her mouth opened slightly, as if she had seen a face in a crowd she never expected. "That looks like binary," she said. Ethan blinked. "Binary is not rare. Plenty of species use it." Lily nodded, but her voice changed. It became careful. "Not just binary. The spacing and grouping, the pauses, it is like early human coding." Ava scoffed softly. "In a Vireland ruin system, that is not possible." Lily did not argue. She only tapped the screen and began running quick comparisons against stored human historical patterns. The ship's computer processed in silence, then flashed a set of similarity markers. Ethan felt a tightness in his chest. "How close?" Lily swallowed. "Close enough that I would not call it chance." Noah stopped humming. "Are you saying someone is broadcasting human code out here?" Daniel leaned back. "Or something is." Ethan did not like unknown signals. Unknown signals meant attention, and attention meant council questions. But he also knew what the mission allowed. They were permitted to investigate anomalies if they might be hazards. "Trace it," Ethan said. Ava's fingers moved quickly. "Signal source is not a planet. It's the shattered moon in orbit around the fourth planet. It's coming from under the surface, deep." The view screen showed the moon as a broken gray object, cracked like a dropped plate. Fragments formed a thin ring around it, glittering with ice and stone. It looked dead. It looked harmless. Lily's voice dropped. "Captain, if this is real, it changes a lot." Ethan kept his tone steady. "First we confirm, then we talk about meaning." He opened a channel to the Council Exploration Office. The response took time, bouncing through relays. When it came, a neutral voice answered. The officer's name tag displayed as Coordinator Selan, an Arcturian with a clipped way of speaking. "Human vessel," Selan said. "State your report." Ethan explained the signal, the location, and the preliminary match. He kept his words plain. He avoided conclusions. There was a pause on the line. Then Selan's voice returned, slightly sharper. "You will hold position," Selan said. "Do not approach the moon. A council recovery team will be dispatched." Ethan frowned. "Coordinator, with respect, our charter allows on-site verification. We can perform a surface check and confirm whether the signal is active equipment or natural interference." "Negative," Selan replied. "This is a classified archive zone. You will stand down." Ava muttered. "Since when?" Ethan ignored it. "Coordinator, please provide the clause that makes it classified. The catalog listed it as open survey." Another pause. Then Selan said, "The listing has been updated. Comply." The channel closed. Silence filled the bridge. Noah let out a slow breath. "They shut us down fast." Daniel looked at Ethan. "That makes it worse. If it was nothing, they would not care." Lily's eyes were fixed on the signal feed. "Captain, the pulse is still going. If we wait, they might cut it off. We might never know what it is." Ethan's jaw tightened. He was not a rebel. He was not the kind of captain who made grand choices. But he also did not like being used as a blind tool. He had learned that some council officers treated humans like useful hands, not like equal partners. He thought about Earth, about how humans had fought and struggled just to be invited into council space. He thought about the way the council spoke of humans like a temporary trend. Then he thought about the signal, quietly repeating under stone, like a heartbeat. "We are not drilling," Ethan said. "We are not taking anything. We will do a surface scan and a small landing. If there is danger, we leave." Ava's lips pressed into a thin line, but her eyes brightened. "I can prep a landing package in 15 minutes. Noah nodded. "Course plotted, approach vector avoids debris." Daniel's voice was soft. "If the council asks, we can say we did hazard confirmation." Ethan met their eyes one by one. "We keep it clean, we keep it safe. We record everything. No hero moves, understood." They moved with quiet speed. The ship glided toward the moon, careful and controlled. The fragments in orbit drifted slowly, each piece casting a faint shadow. The moon's surface looked rough and scarred, with deep cracks that vanished into darkness. As they got closer, the signal grew stronger. It still did not sound like a voice. It was still just pulses. But now the rhythm felt more confident, like it knew it was being heard. Ava piloted a small landing craft down to a flat area near a wide fissure. Ethan, Lily, Daniel, and Ava went together. Noah stayed in orbit to maintain communications and monitor council traffic. The craft touched down with a gentle thud. Dust lifted and fell in slow motion under weak gravity. Ethan stepped out first, boots crunching on fine grit. His suit display showed low radiation, low atmosphere, stable ground. The fissure lay ahead like a wound. It was wide enough to swallow buildings. Dark, airless space stretched down, but the suit lights could pick out angled surfaces deeper inside, like steps or broken layers. Lily walked to the edge and pointed her light downward. "The signal is coming from there." Daniel held up a handheld scanner. "It's not natural. The readings show a regular energy source below, steady, controlled." Ava examined the rock near the fissure. "This is not just cracking. The angles are too straight in places, like someone cut it." Ethan felt a strange mix of excitement and fear. Excitement because discovery was the reason explorers existed. Fear because deep discoveries often came with consequences. They lowered a small drone into the fissure. Its lights flickered as it descended, sending video back to their suit displays. At first it showed only rock, then it showed metal, a flat surface, smooth and dark, hidden beneath a thin layer of dust. The metal did not look like Violin designs. Violin ruins were known for curved arches and spiral patterns. This metal had hard lines, strong corners, and a kind of quiet simplicity. The drone continued downward. A doorway appeared, not broken, not collapsed, closed. Ava's voice was tight. "That door is intact." Lily whispered, "How?" The drone hovered, scanning for access points. A small panel sat beside the door, half buried in dust. Daniel cleared his throat. "Captain, that panel's shape looks familiar." Ethan did not answer. He already knew what Daniel meant. It looked like a design from early human ships, not modern ones, but old ones. A rectangle with simple input nodes. The kind of interface humans used before they mastered more advanced systems. They could not open the door with the drone. It had no hands, no tools, so Ethan decided quickly. They moved down into the fissure using tether lines and suit thrusters. It was slow, careful work. The rock walls pressed close and the darkness felt heavy, but the signal guided them like a faint drum. When they reached the metal platform, Ethan placed his glove on it. It felt cold but not dead. There was a subtle vibration like a machine far away. The door stood before them, tall enough for a human to walk through with room to spare. Ava brushed dust off the side panel. Beneath the dust, tiny markings appeared. Lily stared. Those are human letters. They were worn, old, but readable. Daniel traced them with his glove. This is impossible. Ethan's mouth went dry. We need proof before we say anything. Ava tested the panel. No response. She tried a power pulse, still nothing. Lily raised her hand. Let me. She pressed her gloved thumb against a small circular indent. The panel blinked once, weak like a tired eye, then it brightened. A soft tone sounded. The door did not open yet, but the system clearly recognized a human touch. Ethan's heart pounded. He looked at Lily's face through her visor. Her eyes were wide, but she did not smile. She looked like someone standing at the edge of a truth too large to hold. Ava spoke quietly. It is keyed to humans, Lily whispered, or made by humans. The panel displayed a simple prompt. It was not in modern English, but Lily could read enough. Identity required. Ava tried next. She placed her palm on the panel. The system pulsed, then accepted her. The door slid open with a smooth sound. Air did not rush out. There was no atmosphere, but light spilled from within, a pale glow that illuminated the passage ahead. They stepped inside. The corridor was clean, too clean. Dust did not coat the floor. The walls were made of the same dark metal, lined with thin seams that suggested hidden machinery. The glow came from strips along the ceiling, still working after who knew how long. Daniel's scanner beeped softly. There is power, active power, stable. Ethan walked slowly, watching every corner. His mind tried to place what he was seeing in a safe category, but it would not fit. It was not Violin. It was not Council. It was not anything listed in the maps. At the end of the corridor was a wide chamber. In the center stood a raised platform with a curved console. Behind it, the wall held a large display panel, currently dark. Ava approached first, careful. She studied the console's surface. It had no buttons, only touch-sensitive sections. Lily moved beside her. It is like a museum piece of human tech, but refined, like someone took early designs and built them with perfect materials. Ethan stood back, watching. Do not activate anything you cannot shut down. Ava nodded. Understood. She touched the console lightly. The display panel lit up. A star map appeared, vast and detailed, spreading across the wall like a living web, points of light-marked systems, lines marked routes. It was not the council map they knew. It was older, and yet it was more complete. Then a marker pulsed. Earth. But Earth was not marked as a new world. Earth was marked as a center. Lines spread outward from it, branching like roots through space. Lily's breath caught. No, Daniel stared, forgetting to blink. That is a migration map. Ethan felt his stomach drop. From Earth. The room seemed to tilt, not physically, but inside Ethan's mind. Every story he had heard about human youth, every council lecture, every smug statement, suddenly felt fragile. Ava scrolled through the interface, bringing up layers of data. Symbols appeared, dates appeared. The numbers were not in council format, but Lily quickly converted a few. Her voice shook. These roots begin far earlier than council history, far earlier. Daniel leaned closer, voice hushed. Captain, if this is real, it suggests humans were traveling before the council thinks space travel existed. Ethan tried to speak, but his throat felt tight. Or the council's history is wrong. A faint sound came from the console. The signal they had followed was not just outside. It was here inside the system. A heartbeat still calling. Ava opened a file labeled with a simple tag, Origin Archive. The screen shifted. A short line of text appeared, worn but clear enough for Lily to translate. Foundations preserved. Return when ready. Lily looked at Ethan. It is talking to humans like it expects humans to come back. Ethan's suit comm beeped. Noah's voice came through, tense. Captain, council traffic spiked. I'm detecting a council recovery ship entering the system. Fast, and it is not a science team. It looks armed. Ethan's blood ran cold. How long? Ethan asked. Less than 40 minutes, Noah replied. And Captain, I think they already know you landed. Ethan stared at the glowing map, at the lines that made Earth look like a forgotten origin point of the galaxy itself. He understood in that moment that they had crossed an invisible line. This was not just discovery. This was danger. He took a slow breath and made a decision. "Copy everything," he told Ava. "As much as you can now. Lily, keep translating the labels. Daniel, watch the corridor and record every detail. We leave in 10 minutes no matter what." They moved quickly, but their hands shook. Because deep under a dead moon, in a place the Council suddenly wanted to control, the truth was waking up. And the galaxy was not ready for what humans were about to remember. Ethan Brooks stood in the center of the glowing chamber while the star map continued to pulse softly against the wall. The light reflected across his helmet visor, turning the stars into silent witnesses. Behind him, Ava Mitchell worked fast, her fingers moving across the console as streams of data transferred into portable drives. Lily Morgan spoke quietly as she translated symbols appearing faster than she could fully understand, and Daniel Carter kept watch near the corridor entrance, his scanner ready. The message from Noah still echoed in Ethan's mind. A Council recovery ship was approaching, and it was armed. That alone changed everything. This was no longer just a scientific discovery. Someone wanted control of this place. "How much longer?" Ethan asked. 7 minutes, Ava replied without looking up. "The archive is huge." "I'm prioritizing navigation data and language logs." Lily shook her head slightly. "There's more here than we can carry. Historical records, genetic information, maybe even cultural data." Ethan nodded. "Take what we can prove first, evidence they cannot deny." Daniel spoke from the doorway. "Captain, I keep thinking about the signal. It's not random. It's like a beacon waiting for a specific trigger." Lily glanced back. Maybe the trigger was human presence. The idea hung heavy in the air. If this structure had waited for humans specifically, then whoever built it expected humans to return. And that meant someone knew humans had been here long before. Ethan pushed the thought aside for now. They needed to leave before the Council ship arrived. Suddenly, the console chimed again. The star map zoomed automatically, focusing on several distant systems. Lines appeared between them, glowing faintly. Lily leaned closer. "It's showing expansion routes. Look at the dates. These routes existed long before Council timelines." Daniel exhaled slowly. "Then everything they taught about galactic history is wrong. Or incomplete," Ethan said. Ava removed one data core and replaced it with another. "Download is at 80%, but Captain, there's something else. The system is unlocking deeper files since we activated it. It's like it recognizes us." The chamber lights brightened slightly and a new display appeared. It showed images, not just maps. Ancient ships, simple in design but massive. Human-shaped figures wearing unfamiliar suits, worlds under construction. Lily's voice turned quiet with awe. "These are not just explorers, they were builders." Daniel whispered, "Founders." Ethan stared at the images, trying to understand. Humans were considered a young species struggling to gain respect among older civilizations. Yet here was proof suggesting the opposite. Noah's voice returned through the comm, sharper now. "Captain, Council ship is entering close orbit. They are scanning the moon. I think they're trying to locate your landing zone." "How long before they reach us?" Ethan asked. "Maybe 20 minutes. Ethan nodded once. "That gives us 10 minutes to finish and 10 minutes to leave." Ava's hands moved faster. Lily continued translating. "There's a repeating phrase in the archive. It keeps referring to something called the Origin Architects." Ethan felt a chill. "Humans?" "I think so," Lily said. "But not humans as we know ourselves, a much older civilization." Daniel frowned. "If that's true, why did no one remember?" Lily hesitated. "Maybe they chose to forget." The idea felt strange but possible. A tone sounded. Ava smiled slightly. "Transfer complete." "Good," Ethan said. "Pack up, we leave." They turned toward the corridor when the wall display suddenly flickered. A new message appeared automatically, written in an ancient form of human language. Lily gasped softly. "It's activating another file." A recording began to play. The image was distorted but clear enough to show a human figure standing in a bright chamber similar to theirs. The person's face was calm, serious. Lily translated as the figure spoke. "To those who return," she read slowly, "you are our descendants, our memory reborn. If you stand here, then the cycle has turned again." Ethan felt his heartbeat quicken. The recording continued. "We built the paths between stars, we shaped life where it could survive, but power without wisdom nearly destroyed everything, so we chose silence. We chose to step back. We erased ourselves from history so others could grow without fear. Daniel whispered, "They hid themselves on purpose." Lily nodded slowly. The recording ended with a warning. "When you remember this. Do not claim dominion. Guide only when needed." The message faded. Silence returned to the chamber. Ava spoke first. "We need to go now." They moved quickly back through the corridor. The door remained open as if inviting them to return someday. Outside, the darkness of the fissure felt heavier than before. As they climbed toward the surface, Ethan's mind raced. If the council knew about this structure already, then they might have hidden the truth for centuries. Or maybe they had only just discovered it too. Either possibility felt dangerous. They reached the landing craft and launched without delay. The small ship lifted away from the moon just as a large shadow crossed above them. The council vessel appeared, sleek and imposing, covered in sharp lines and heavy armor plating. Noah guided them toward the main ship quickly. "They're hailing you," Ethan sighed softly. "Put it through." A tall alien appeared on the screen, eyes narrow and posture stiff. "This is High Scholar Verk of the Council. You have violated a direct order. Explain." Ethan kept his voice calm. "We performed a hazard verification as permitted by our charter." Verk's expression hardened. "You accessed a restricted archive. All data will be transferred to Council authority immediately." Ethan did not respond at once. Behind him, Ava shook her head slightly and Lily looked worried. "We will share findings through proper channels," Ethan said finally. "That was not a request," Verk replied. Daniel whispered quietly to Ethan, "He sounds afraid." Ethan realized Daniel might be right. Fear meant this discovery threatened someone's control. The council ship moved closer, positioning itself between Ethan's vessel and open space. Noah spoke under his breath. "They're blocking our exit." Ethan felt tension rise, but he kept his tone steady. "Scholar Verk, our crew intends to cooperate, but we will not surrender our data without review." Verk's eyes narrowed further. "Human arrogance grows quickly." Ethan almost smiled at that, but he held it back. "Or maybe human caution." The channel ended abruptly. Silence filled the bridge. "They're going to board us," Ava said quietly. "Maybe," Ethan replied. Lily held the data core carefully. "Captain, if they erase this, the truth disappears again." Ethan nodded slowly. He understood the weight of that. The ship drifted for a moment as both vessels faced each other in the dark. Then a new signal spread across council frequencies. It was a broadcast request from Ambassador Claire Dawson, a human representative known for calm diplomacy. Her voice filled the channel. "This is Ambassador Dawson. I request immediate joint review of the discovered archive. Any unilateral seizure will violate council treaty law." Verk appeared again, clearly irritated. "Ambassador, this is a matter of historical security." "Exactly," Claire replied gently. "Which is why transparency is necessary." Ethan felt relief wash through him. They were not alone. The council ship hesitated. Minutes passed slowly. Finally, Verk spoke again. "You will accompany us to council space for investigation." Ethan looked at his crew. They all understood the risk, but they also knew running would make them look guilty. "We will comply," Ethan said. The council ship turned and began leading the way toward hyperspace. As the stars stretched into lines around them, Ethan stared at the data core resting in Lily's hands. The galaxy believed humans were young. Soon, everyone would learn they might be older than anyone imagined. And once that truth spread, nothing would remain the same. The journey to council space felt longer than usual, even though the ship moved through hyperspace at full speed. Outside the windows, stars stretched into long, pale lines, flowing like rivers of light. Inside the bridge, silence held a heavy weight. Captain Ethan Brooks stood behind his chair, watching the navigation display. The council vessel led them ahead, its signal steady and controlled. It did not attack, it did not speak much, but its presence felt like a quiet threat. Lily Morgan sat at the side console, reviewing the cockpit archive again and again. She moved slowly, careful not to miss anything important. Ava Mitchell checked system security, making sure no outside signal could access their stored data. Daniel Carter watched council communications channels, listening for changes in tone or hidden meaning. Noah Bennett guided the ship with calm focus, though his shoulders stayed tense. None of them spoke much at first. Everyone understood that the next steps could change their lives forever. After several hours, a message appeared on the main screen. Ambassador Claire Dawson requested a private communication. Ethan accepted immediately. Claire appeared, her expression calm but serious. She wore a simple uniform without decoration, as always. "I'm glad you are safe," she said quietly. "We're not sure yet," Ethan replied. Claire nodded slightly. "I have delayed immediate seizure of your data, but High Scholar Verk is pushing hard for control. He believes this discovery threatens Council stability," Daniel muttered. "He means his authority." Claire did not deny it. "Possibly. The Council was built on shared history. If that history changes, power structures change." Lily spoke softly. "The archive suggests humans were not just early travelers. They were the origin architects. They seeded life." Claire closed her eyes for a moment, processing that. "Many species will react strongly. Some will feel honored. Others will feel deceived." Ethan crossed his arms. "What do you think?" Claire hesitated. "I think truth matters, but how truth is revealed matters even more. If people feel threatened, they may react with fear." A warning tone sounded on the bridge. Noah spoke quickly. "Council fleet presence increasing ahead." "Looks like multiple ships gathering near the Council station." Claire's face tightened. "Then the debate has already begun. I will meet you when you arrive." The channel closed. The ship dropped out of hyperspace moments later. The Council station appeared ahead, massive and bright, surrounded by dozens of vessels from different species. Lights moved everywhere like living stars. Ethan felt a strange tension in his chest. This was no longer just exploration. This was history unfolding. They docked under heavy observation. Security teams waited, but no weapons were raised. That alone felt like a small victory. Inside the station, representatives from many species gathered in a large chamber. Tall Arcturians stood beside crystalline Cellari, insect-like traders, and smaller diplomatic envoys. Humans were few in number, but Claire stood near the center, calm and steady. High Scholar Verk waited opposite her, posture rigid. Ethan and his crew stepped forward together. Whispers spread through the room as the data core was placed onto the central table. Verk spoke first. "This discovery has already caused unrest. Before rumors grow worse, we must determine authenticity." Claire nodded. "Agreed." Full review with representatives from all major species. Lily activated the archive display. The star map appeared again, showing Earth as the center point. Lines spread outward across the galaxy. Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. Some alien representatives leaned forward with curiosity. Others looked angry or afraid. Daniel watched carefully. "They are not just shocked," he whispered to Ethan. "They are divided." Lily began explaining in simple terms, showing migration paths, genetic connections, and the ancient recording they had discovered. When the recording played, silence fell completely. The ancient human voice echoed through the chamber, speaking about stepping back, about choosing silence to protect life. When it ended, no one spoke for several seconds. Finally, an older Cellari representative asked, "If this is true, then our species exists because of human intervention." Lily answered carefully. "The archive suggests humans helped guide early development, but it does not show control or ownership, more like caretaking." Another voice rose from the back, sharp and angry. "Then our history is a lie." Verk raised his hand. "Calm yourselves, we must verify before accepting such extreme claims." Claire spoke calmly. "Verification is ongoing, but suppression will only increase conflict." The debate grew louder. Some species felt pride in sharing a common origin. Others feared being seen as lesser. Ethan watched silently, realizing the truth alone would not unite them. During a break, Ava pulled Ethan aside. "Captain, there's something strange in the deeper files." "I think the archive hid additional layers." "What kind of layers?" "Genetic vault records. They show template structures used in early species design." Ethan frowned. "Are you sure?" Ava nodded. "Yes, and the templates all contain human base patterns." Ethan felt cold again. If this information spread without context, many species might feel like creations rather than equals. They returned to the chamber. Lily revealed the genetic data slowly, explaining that shared origins did not remove individuality or growth. Still, tension increased. One Arcturian officer stood. "If humans are ancestors, then should humans lead the council?" Immediately others protested. Claire raised her voice just enough to be heard. "Leadership is not the question. Responsibility is." The room quieted slightly. Ethan realized she was guiding the conversation away from power struggles, but Verk stepped forward again. "Human involvement in ancient history makes them unpredictable. They may attempt to reclaim authority." Ethan spoke for the first time directly to the assembly. Humans did not build this archive to take power, he said simply. The recording clearly says they stepped back on purpose. Some representatives nodded, others remained doubtful. A message alert interrupted the discussion. Daniel checked his device and looked shocked. Captain, unauthorized fleet movements detected near Earth's outer defense zone. The room froze. Claire turned sharply. Who authorized that? No one answered immediately. Verk's expression remained unreadable. Fear spread quickly through the chamber. If fleets moved toward Earth, it could trigger war. Ethan stepped forward. If Earth is attacked because of this discovery, it will confirm every fear humans have about the Council. Claire looked at Verk. We must send immediate orders to stand down. Verk hesitated, then nodded slowly. I will request clarification. But Ethan sensed something hidden behind those words. The meeting continued for hours, arguments rising and falling like waves. By the end, one thing became clear. The truth could no longer be hidden. Aliens across the Council had seen enough evidence to question everything they believed. As the chamber emptied, Lily sat down heavily, exhausted. Do you think they will accept it? She asked. Ethan watched the distant stars through a wide window. Eventually, he said. But first they will struggle. Daniel leaned against the wall. History changing overnight is never easy. Ava crossed her arms. The real question is what humans do now. Ethan did not answer right away, because he knew the truth they uncovered was not just about the past. It was about the future, and somewhere in the galaxy, forces were already moving, reacting to the idea that humans might not be the youngest species after all. They might be the oldest, and that realization would change everything. The Council station did not sleep. Ships moved in slow circles outside the wide glass walls, their lights blinking in careful patterns. Messages flowed through communication channels without pause. Delegates argued in private rooms. Military fleets adjusted positions across nearby systems. The truth about the ancient archive had spread faster than anyone expected. Captain Ethan Brooks stood alone near a viewing window, watching the distant stars. He felt small against the scale of it all. A single landing on a broken moon had shaken the foundation of galactic history. Behind him, footsteps approached. Ambassador Claire Dawson stopped beside him. The emergency fleets near Earth have halted, she said quietly. They are holding position, for now. Ethan nodded. That is something. Claire looked out at the stars. High Scholar Verk claims the fleet movement was precautionary. Ethan almost smiled. Precaution against what? Claire did not answer directly. Fear is powerful. Some leaders believe that if humans once guided the galaxy, they may try again. Ethan turned to face her. We have not asked for power. I know, Claire said, but perception matters more than intention. Across the station, Lily Morgan, Ava Mitchell, Daniel Carter, and Noah Bennett gathered in a smaller conference room. The archive data glowed on a large display screen. Lily highlighted sections of the ancient message again. The origin architects did not claim ownership. They warned against domination. Daniel leaned forward. Then we must repeat that message clearly. Ava crossed her arms. Not everyone will listen. Noah nodded slowly. But some will. The Council had called for a final full assembly. Representatives from every major species would attend. A decision had to be made. The archive would either be accepted as shared history or sealed and labeled as dangerous misinformation. Ethan entered the room. His crew looked up. They want us present, he said. All of us. Lily took a steady breath. Then we speak carefully. The main assembly chamber filled again, larger than before. Security presence had increased, but no weapons were drawn openly. The tension felt sharp, like the air before a storm. High Scholar Verk stood at the center platform. The discovery beneath the Virelin moon challenges our recorded history, he began. If accepted without caution, it could destabilize alliances built over centuries. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Claire stepped forward next. History does not weaken alliances, lies do. Her voice was calm but firm. Ethan and his crew stood behind her, silent but visible. Verk turned toward the large display screen. The genetic vault data suggests shared biological foundations between species. Some interpret this as human authorship. A tall Arcturian representative spoke. Are we to believe we were engineered? Lily answered from her place. The archive shows guidance, not control. Life evolved naturally. The origin architects only ensured survival. A crystalline Celari delegate added, "If humans seeded life, then they are our ancestors." Another voice objected sharply, "Or our manipulators." The room grew louder. Ethan stepped forward slightly. He did not raise his voice. "The recording from the archive makes something clear," he said. "The ancient humans stepped back. They chose not to rule. They erased their own power." Silence fell gradually as his words settled. Daniel activated the ancient recording once more. The chamber listened again to the calm human voice speaking about restraint, about learning from past mistakes, about avoiding another collapse. When the message ended, no one immediately argued. Then a smaller envoy from a distant system spoke softly. "If humans gave up control once, why would they seek it now?" Verk answered before Ethan could. "Power tempts all species." Claire turned to Verk. "Including ours." The tension between them was clear. Suddenly, Daniel's console beeped. He checked it quickly and looked up with concern. "Captain," he whispered, "several extremist factions have begun broadcasting across outer systems. They claim humans are planning domination." Ethan closed his eyes briefly. The truth was already being twisted. Claire addressed the assembly again. "Misinformation spreads faster than facts. If we hesitate, conflict may begin before understanding." The Arcturian representative nodded slowly. "Then what is your proposal?" Claire looked toward Ethan. He stepped forward fully this time. "Humans do not claim leadership," he said. "We propose open access to the archive for all species, shared study, shared understanding." Murmurs began again, but this time they sounded less hostile. "We also propose," Ethan continued, "a joint council to monitor ancient technologies found in the archive. No single species controls it." Verk studied him carefully. "You would give up exclusive rights to your own ancestral data?" Ethan nodded. "It belongs to all of us now." Lily added quietly, "The archive was built for descendants, not for rulers." The chamber fell silent again. One by one, representatives began speaking in support of shared access. Some still expressed fear, but the tone shifted. It was no longer about suppressing the truth. It was about managing it together. Verk remained still for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. "If we accept this proposal, humans must also accept oversight." Claire nodded immediately. "We agree." The decision process began. Voting signals appeared across the chamber walls. Lights blinked as each species cast its position. Ethan watched the lights carefully. At first, the pattern looked uncertain. Then slowly, more lights shifted to approval. The final count appeared. The archive would be recognized as authentic and shared history. No species would claim supremacy. Relief spread through the room like a wave. But Ethan knew this was only the beginning. After the assembly ended, news spread across the galaxy. Some systems celebrated the idea of shared origin. Others struggled with the change. There were protests in distant regions, and small political groups tried to stir anger. Yet no fleets moved toward Earth. No war began. Days later, Ethan and his crew stood once more before a wide window, this time overlooking Earth itself from orbit. The blue planet turned slowly below them. Lily held a tablet containing the first joint research proposals from multiple species. "They want to work together," she said softly. Ava smiled faintly. "That's new." Daniel leaned back in his chair. "The galaxy thought humans were young and reckless. Now they see something older," Noah added, "older but still learning." Ethan watched the planet carefully. He did not feel powerful. He felt responsible. Claire joined them once more. "The Council has formed the Shared Origin Committee," she said. "Representatives from 10 species, including humans." Ethan nodded. "Good." Claire looked at him thoughtfully. "You understand what this means?" "Yes," he said quietly. The galaxy had realized that humans were not the youngest voice among them. They were the oldest memory. But that memory came with a warning. The Origin architects had once nearly destroyed everything through uncontrolled expansion and pride. They chose silence to protect the future. Now the future had returned to them. Claire spoke softly. "History will record this moment." Ethan looked down at Earth again. "Let it record that we chose cooperation," he said. Above them, stars stretched endlessly into darkness. Across distant systems, species began studying the archive together. Scientists compared genetic histories without accusation. Philosophers debated shared beginnings. Leaders discussed responsibility rather than control. High Scholar Verk remained cautious, but even he supported the Joint Oversight Committee. Fear had not vanished, but it had been balanced by understanding. The ancient archive on the shattered moon continued to glow quietly, its purpose fulfilled. Humans had returned. Not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as descendants remembering who they once were. And the aliens realized only afterwards that humans were the original ancient species. Yet the greater truth was not about age. It was about choice. Long ago, humans had chosen to step back. Now they chose to stand beside the galaxy, not above it. And for the first time in a long time, the future did not feel like a threat. It felt shared.